Hi, and welcome back to ZzzzLEAP podcast, where we leap toward better sleep one peaceful night at a time. This is episode 4. I am Gabriel, the creator and the host of this podcast. And tonight we are zooming all the way into internal biology that decides whether your rest restores or collapses. We are focusing on the 24-hour science of sleep hygiene. So, if you have been following this journey, you already know that this podcast has never been just about sleep. It's about slowing down, reconnecting with yourself, and rebuilding the parts of your life that gets lost when everything moves too fast. And we established early on that sleep is not a luxury, it's a need. So, prioritizing rest is the foundation of health and balance. And we emphasize that sleep not only adds years to your life, but also life to your years. In episode 2, we explored the impact of sound and noise on sleep, learning that your brain is always listening, acting like a night watchman. And we discovered that the sound that matters is the one that breaks expectations, like a sound of a child crying. And in episode 3, we discussed more steady sounds like white noise, also pink noise and brown noise, which we also called like modern day lullaby. So it works like a blanket to smoothen out spikes and helps and protects deep slow wave sleep and consolidate memory. And we also discussed a topic like sound or purr of a cat that can be good for healing bones. So now in episode 4, we will move from those external environmental cues to your internal biology. The most important framing we must hold is this: your day is already decided the night before. Sleep hygiene is not just a list of tips or tricks or another item for your to-do list. It's an entire 24-hour psychological rhythm. And before we dive deeper into this episode, a quick reminder: what I share here comes from my own research and my own exploration. This podcast is just informational and for educational purposes only, and it's not a medical advice. So if you have any concerns about your sleep or health, just consult a qualified healthcare professional. And think of this podcast as a guide and as a companion to learn about sleeping and maybe improve your sleeping in long term, but it's definitely not a prescription. And now we can dive deeper into the 24-hour science of sleep hygiene. To achieve the real goal of ZzzzLEAP, to sleep better and wake up more fresh and more you, we must align our days with our nights. This alignment is governed by your circadian rhythm, so-called your biological clock. This rhythm is a complex system that dictates when sleep should happen and runs everything from your hormones and core temperature to your digestion to your mood. I have structured this episode into 5 phases, and in the first phase, let's call it morning anchor, we will be discussing light, consistency, and melatonin. So the process of falling asleep tonight is fundamentally anchored by the moment you wake up this morning. Inside your brain sits the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or your master clock. When natural light, especially the blue rich wavelength of the morning sunlight, hits your retina, your master clock resets. This triggers cortisol and epinephrine, making you feel alert. Crucially, that morning light sets a timer for the release of your key sleep hormone, melatonin, which will rise in 12 to 14 hours later. signaling darkness and a rest to your entire system. So think of it as that morning light does not just wake you up, but it also programs your night. A huge part of sleeping better comes down to waking up and falling asleep at consistent times. Our brain loves routines because consistency aligns with our internal clocks. So maintain the same sleep schedule even on weekends if you can, and avoid sleeping in late, which prevents messing up the rhythm you've built. In phase 2, let's call it daytime management, we will be discussing adenosine and chemical interference. So, throughout the day, your brain accumulates a chemical pressure for sleep using the molecule adenosine. And adenosine quietly measures how long you've been awake, increasing the drive for the sleep. This leads us directly to the substances we ingest. And one of the main common one, as you probably have guessed, is coffee. And it contains caffeine that acts as an adenosine antagonist, blocking the receptors that detect this sleep pressure. You should avoid coffee at a minimum of 6 hours, but preferably 8 to 12 hours before you go to bed. So if you typically go to bed around 10, you should be cutting off caffeine at latest 2 p.m. And even you can fall asleep when you have had a late coffee. The caffeine reduces the depth of your sleep by up to 30%, leading to grogginess the next morning. And the second most common one, at least in the West, is probably alcohol. And it is a sedative. And just remember, sedation is not sleep. Alcohol tends to fragment sleep. It increases awakenings, raises core temperature, and strongly suppresses our EM sleep or REM sleep. And our emotional and mental recovery stage totally depends on REM sleep. Eating on itself also raises core temperature. So eating late activates your gut and signals day mood. Your liver and digestive system have a peripheral clock. Late meals disrupt alignment and can suppress melatonin release. Avoiding substantial meals within 3 hours of your bedtime is recommended. Also, if you think about the core temperature and body temperature in general, vigorous exercise too close to bedtime spikes adrenaline and heart rate, so avoid training at least 3 hours before sleep. So the earlier, the better. Your body needs recovery and build healthy sleep pressure. In phase 3, or the descent, we will be discussing PNS or parasympathetic nervous system and temperature science. The transition to sleep is more like descending and landing a plane than flipping a switch. We want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state, and manage cortisol and stress levels. So naturally, cortisol levels should be low by night, and mental activity keeps it high. A brain still in planning mode cannot drop into sleep on command. A simple solution could be some type of let's call it mind dump. So journaling 1 or 2 hours before bed, move your thoughts from your head onto paper. This frees your executive brain from planning. In addition to that, the body must drop its core temperature by 1 to 3 degrees to fall asleep effectively. And this shift helps trigger deep, restorative, slow wave sleep. A warm bath or shower 1 to 2 hours before bed helps your body cool afterwards. A strong biological signal that sleep is coming. And lastly, in this phase, based on the research, we would recommend keeping the bedroom colder from 16 to 19 degrees Celsius. In phase 4, we will discuss environment and melatonin protection. Your environment must support your biology. We aim for darker and cooler. Additionally, we recommend avoiding screens. The blue light from screens mimic sunlight, and melanopsin cells detect it and suppresses melatonin. This delays your sleep window. So if you can, avoid screens at least an hour or two before bed. Furthermore, to improve your sleep, you could make your bedroom as dark as possible. You could use blackout curtains or an eye mask, and avoid light in general. Even if you have alarm clocks that have lights in them or something, you could turn it away or remove it if you can. And also avoid just having TVs or anything that raises your mental activity in the bedroom. You should be using your bedroom for sleeping and intimacy only. Working and stressing in bed teaches your brain that bed is not a place of rest. And the researchers also point that just tidying up your bedroom, setting out clothes, reduces tomorrow's stress and sets you up for future success. Additionally, also just practicing gratitude has been proven to help with every level of sleep, but especially deep levels of sleep. And in phase 5, we would be talking a little bit about supplementary tools. There are many supplements that is proven to help with sleep. We would be discussing just the common ones. So magnesium glycinate is proven to relax the nervous system through GABA pathways, and it is recommended 1 or 2 hours before you head to bed. Melatonin is a timing signal, so it's not a sedative. The store doses might be a little higher than your natural levels, and research shows a very minimal benefit for healthy adults. But it can be a really good supplement if you are traveling between time zones and long travels just in general, because it can help with jet lag and just tiredness. So in conclusion, your sleep architecture, deep sleep, REM recovery is non-negotiable. When your day supports your night, sleep arrives naturally, not through force, but through alignment. Light in the morning and evening, caffeine and meal cutoffs, temperature shifts, mental clearing. You're telling your circadian rhythm the true story, like this is morning, this is day, this is evening, and this is night. Every choice you make throughout the day supports that story or rewrites it. Sleep is a process, it's a descent landing, it's not a flip or a switch. Set the right cues and you create the soft, steady glide into rest. And you might not be able to do everything that we discussed in this episode from day one, but that's a bigger reason to maybe come back to this like once a month and listen to it during your nightly routine and pick up the next thing that you're missing from your daily or night routine, and improve your sleep in long term. And as usual, we will be ending this episode with a little wind down practice. First, we will be breathing, and then we will be relaxing, and hopefully we will be drifting into sleep. So find a comfortable position for yourself where you can breathe easily. We will breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 6. So if you have found the comfortable position for you, we can start. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in again, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And last one together. Breathe in, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue breathing normally, and with every breath, let your body grow heavier and heavier, and feel your body sink deeper and deeper in the bed. I am Gabriel, and this has been episode 4 of the ZzzzLEAP podcast. And until next time, sleep well, dream deep, and be kind to your tired self. Good night.